Hey, what's up, everybody? If you tried to watch this video before, I apologize. I hope there's audio on this. I don't know what happened. We've been having major technical difficulties down here in the grotto, but I want to give a shout out to my man Mike from Cox Cable today, who came and actually spent time with me after two technicians, told me that it was the modem. My man Mike took time out of his day on a hot Saturday afternoon to go up and give me a brand new cable that hasn't been changed in 15 years. And I think we believe, and I can tell you right now, that is the reason why my ultra high speed internet has not been working up to performance. So Mike, thank you very much for taking the extra effort. And I did give you a great review when Cox called me today. So thank you very much. And always, you guys, when these guys come to your house, please, they are trying their best, and always give them a little gratuity. Always offer them a glass of water, bottle of water, or something like that. That's the least you can do for them to come into your house and to help them out. So that being said, this is the best Kevin Eastman interview you will ever see here on 3 Men in the Basement, done by my man Chinmo. And I'm getting this off. If it's 7:30, you're going to be watching this at 8 o'clock on Monday night. And I apologize. I had to delete the last one. There was something wrong with my audio. And we just can't allow that, because if my boy TiVo was around, he would have blasted me for that. So that being said, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you listen to Chinmo interview. And once the people start asking questions, I'm going to stop the video. And that's going to be part 2. And you can hear the auto admission. All right. So I'm going to start right now, and I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for your help. Appreciate it. Hi guys, how you doing? Sunday.
Welcome in, guys. Thank you for coming.
Terrificon is terrific. You guys had a good weekend? Yeah. I think I have. Thank you.
Guys, welcome in. Yeah, appreciate you guys coming. My name is Chinmo. I do a YouTube channel with 3 Men in the Basement on the floor. And I'm here to talk with the great Mr. Kevin Eastman.
Kevin Eastman.
You guys want the mics, or is it too loud?
Can you hear just fine? Can you all hear?
Mics.
Mics?
Yep.
Okay, mics.
That way we can get the audio.
Gotcha,
Mike.
gotcha. So Kevin, thank you so much for coming. This is the first time at Terrificon?
Yes, first time here, and thank you again for making us feel so welcome. This is Turtles were created in Dover, New Hampshire. I grew up in Maine, studio in Massachusetts. We used to live in Sharon, Connecticut, and shop at a comic store called My Mother Threw Mine Away. So we claim this as home turf. So it's, thanks for making us feel so welcome and home.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Cheers.
I have a handful of questions for you, so I'm just going to dive into it. I think really we should start with The Last Ronin, because you and Peter came up with a story back in the 80s, am I correct? How much of that original story is what we got compared to what you guys created back in the 80s?
It's great. With the origin of The Last Ronin, which is the newest, it was kind of a tribute and love poem to all things Dark Knight. So much of the Turtles' history is inspired by shoulders we stand on the giants of giants that stand on the shoulders of. Thank you, it's been a long day. I've talked a lot all day, but theater yesterday. But no, and so with The Last Ronin, we had finished the first 11 issues of the Turtles, and we were trying to think of like, all right, where do we go from here? We completed a big story arc, and so we said, well, let's look, 30 years down the road, and this is in 1987, and so we said, we'll set the final story 30 years in the future and kind of give us a lighthouse to navigate towards. And again, the concept of this Dark Knight style story, the final Turtle story. And then 1987 was also the first year we started working on the cartoons, and then the toys, and then the movies. So suddenly it was 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years. We never got a chance to tell that story. Fast forward to, I started working on the IDW Turtle series in 2010. And as Tom Waltz and I, a great team of people on IDW, especially Tom, we were getting close to issue 100, and we were both talking about, well, where do we go from here? And I said, well, I want to revisit this idea that Peter may have, and this is 2018, which is funny because it was set 30 years in the future, so it would have been 2017, and here we are 2018 talking about it. And I took about 35% of what Pete and I originally did, and then expanded to there, because we were going to do it as just sort of a 48-page one-shot.
Okay.
And so we expanded it into a 200-page 5-issue series. And so a lot was added to it, a lot of history, but it was mostly the story leaned heavily towards all things Mirage Studios, so it was very much like the original Turtle, so it was edgier, darker, things like that, but that was it. What an amazing adventure. I worked on a lot of Turtle stories over the years, and that was probably one of the toughest ones to get right, killing all your children, so to speak. It was pretty tough.
You did it fabulously, so it worked out great.
Thank you, thanks. Yes.
I feel like I have to ask, is there another one coming?
There is actually, yeah, we did. It's funny. Once Tom and I started working on the series, as we sort of did more research, and I sort of paced out what I wanted the stories to do, and I designed all the characters look like, the different sets, and all that, and I started falling in love with the Ronin-verse. And so, even before we started on issue 1, we developed quite a bit of development. And I said, let's leave the door open, just a crack at the end. And so we decided we'd add after the epilogue. It was April and Casey Marie Jones and 4 Turtles in a Terrarium, and just sort of said, let's see, if we're lucky enough to sell well enough, maybe we'll get a chance to stay in the Ronin-verse, because we really had fallen in love with it. You guys supported the thing in such a way that we were able to do the Lost Years, which is sort of a segment within the original Lost Years, the last Ronin series, while we're developing part 2 is the introduction of the 4 new Turtles.
Yes.
I look at it like what we're working on now is part 3, which is I feel like Last Ronin is maybe the equivalent of Fellowship of the Ring and New Hope, and then
Empire.
Yeah, and then Empire, 2 Towers, and then at the end is Jedi and Return of the King. So there is one final story in the trilogy to expand on.
I can't wait to read it. So fantastic. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you. Cheers.
You kind of talked about Mirage Studios when you guys started out, how everything was, a little bit darker tone and everything.
Yep.
You started in an apartment, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
When you guys started, after the Turtles kind of started to catch on a little bit, and you guys had many other titles, how was it? Were you guys just like, anything you guys enjoyed, you're like, oh, let's put it up, let's go from there. Who's got an idea?
Well, it was a really exciting time for us, because we were lucky that when we did the first issue, we never thought it would. We borrowed $1,200 from my Uncle Quentin to help us fund the first issue, and we printed 3,000 copies, and we never thought we'd sell enough to actually pay him back. And this crazy thing happened as you guys started buying it. Thank you very much.
Worked out pretty well.
Worked out pretty well. So the first issue came out, and then at that time I was cooking lobsters on the coast of Maine. So I went back to my summer job, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Once that ended, Pete and I kept in touch. Of course, we were right down in New Hampshire, and he said, people keep writing and want us to do a second issue, and we're like, really? So we kept to work on issue 2, and then when that came out, the sales were enough that we were able to, both Pete and I could quit all of the other side jobs that we were doing to pay rent and eat and stuff like that, as buy art supplies. So since 1985, when issue 2 came out, I've been working on nothing but Ninja Turtles, so it's 41 years. But we were able to publish through what they call the independent publishing, and was supported by local comic stores. And we're going out to conventions and meeting guys like Mike Dooney, who's over in Artist Alley, and Jim Lawson, you probably met at their shows. And they had their own ideas and their own creations, so we decided that we'd use the success and attention that we're getting with Turtles to help self-publishers like them under Mirage Studios brand. So we published a lot of stuff for a while, and that kind of black and white comic market sort of died a couple years later. So
they're all super fun stories.
yeah, I love them all.
Speaking of when you do publisher, we were kind of talking about there a little bit, how you like Daredevil, Batman, some of like the bigger names, DC and Marvel, and over the years, Turtles have crossed over with many different characters.
Yeah.
Is there a character or a series or something that you have yet to cross over with, and you're like, I want to get the Turtles with it?
Yeah, that's what we feel even more blessed that the Turtles and the characters that they become do sort of blend into a lot of different crossovers that we wouldn't even think. But we were super excited, for example, doing Turtles Ghostbusters, which was a huge Ghostbusters fan. That was really fun. We've done Turtles Stranger Things, which I thought was the strangest crossover, but that actually turned out really,
It
really
worked really well.
That was really fun. Naruto is the most recent one, but one of the ones I wanted to pitch was, one of the ones I pitched to DC Comics was Jack Kirby created a character called Commandy, which is kind of based on Planet of the Apes style universe where animals ruled and kind of slave. And so I pitched them the Turtles Commandy crossover because it's natural for the tribute Turtles. And they were like, well, nobody knows who Commandy is. Why don't you do a Batman Turtles? And we were like, we didn't know that was on the table.
Big one, right?
Exactly. And so, luckily for us and all of us, really, is that James Tinian, who's like one of my favorite writers, wrote the first series, and one of my favorite artists, Freddie Williams, is a series artist, and that worked so well. You guys supported that in a way that we get to do series 2 and then series 3. Turtle, I'd still like to do a Turtles Community crossover, but I'd really love to do Turtles Daredevil.
It makes sense.
Just, you know,
Yeah.
we stole most of the Turtles' origin from Daredevil. And they didn't sue us, so it was like, they should have.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be good, the X-Men, I mean, mutants, you know,
Yeah.
so, you know, I thought that would fit. Then we were kind of talking earlier too about you being a little bit of an artist collector yourself as well.
Yeah.
So when you are going through, I know you do a lot of covers now for the Turtles. I know you do a handful of Marvel and DC. A little bit. Do you just kind of just sit down and quick little like stick figures and involve from there, or do you kind of go in one shot, or?
You know, it's great. It's been fun to, you know, whether it's working on my, you know, my own covers for some of the Turtle series, because I've just finished, actually just before I came here, I finished cover 163 in a row. So I've done 163 covers in a row just on the ongoing series, which has been so much fun. And so a lot of times I'll do, you know, depending on if it's something I'm writing or if it's something, one of the awesome writers that they bring in to do the series, read the story and sort of see what comes to mind, and I use these, you know, those larger style post-it notes, which is almost exactly proportional. It's like 4 by 6. It's almost completely proportional to a cover size.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I just do like Sharpie, you know, just bang out a couple different ideas, and then from that I'll do more full size, like 8.5 by 11, and then from that I'll do one larger one once I've gotten into what I want.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and then for Marlin, they still want approval on it and all that stuff, which is great. So
Yeah, makes
send them
sense, yeah.
sketches and
A couple different design options when you kind of go through it.
yeah, just send those back like don't quit your day job. No, I love doing the Marvel covers. That's a big fan moment for me to do that.
That's awesome. Is there a Marvel cover or something you haven't done yet that you're like, let me on there?
Yeah, you know, it's like one of my favorites of the Marvel covers was I got to do a couple Wolverine covers, which are always fun. I got to do a Deadpool cover with Deadpool, which would actually be a good crossover too.
That would be a good crossover.
But Spider-Man, I get to do Spider-Man with you know, all of them, Gwen and Miles and Peter. But on the bucket list is Captain America. Haven't had a chance to do one of those, and Iron Man would be too tough. I just finished the Doctor Doom. I signed a bunch with you guys.
Yeah,
about,
just came up the other week.
yeah, Doom was really fun. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of like characters kind of going through, maybe outside of the original kind of Mirage run that you guys created and stuff, there's been many different iterations of Turtles between the comics, video games, movies, TV. Is there a character that has been added later on throughout these stories that you're like, wow, I wish I kind of thought of that, put that in there?
I just take credit for it anyway.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. I do that. No, there's so many. That's one of the things I love about the different versions of the Turtles we've been able to do through, you know, not only the comic books, but some of the movies like Mutant Mayhem came out recently, and I just loved their adaptation of Bebop and Rocksteady and Mondo Gecko and all that. Like they come along doing, you know,
Yeah,
and
John Cena's Rocksteady.
I know, I love your vibe. I love your vibe. So I love the reimagining of some of those characters. And Tom and I got to do a bunch of that through the first 100 issues that we did. Was you know, Bebop and Rocksteady. We gave them a sledgehammer and a chainsaw and some of that. But Tom created a character called Old Hob,
That's one that always pops in my head. Him and Tiger Claw from the 2012 series always pops in my head.
Tiger Claw is awesome from that series. But yeah, Old Tom was great because it's kind of like he's got the eye patch, and it just, I thought it was a genius thing to bring to bear. That was a great creation.
Yeah, got to kind of weave him into the origins, which was awesome.
Yeah. And my favorite out of the animated series was Ice Cream Kitty, which I could do.
I
did the voice of Ice Cream Kitty. So.
Yeah. Whoever, next time you're watching the 2012 series, that's into the freezer.
I still got it.
I know you've done Ice Cream Kitty, I believe, in the original movie, which 35 years is incredible. It's awesome. I believe, was it you and Peter were both garbage men?
Peter chickened out at the last minute. I was like, come on, dude. It was Steve, we were on the set in Wilmington, North Carolina, and Steve Barron, the director, said, you want to do a cameo? And I'm like, yeah. And so it was great. And so Pete was like, no, I didn't want to do it. He's a little bit more shy. And so it was great because the scene was towards the end where they approaching the final showdown with the shredder, and they're setting up the garbage truck for the shredder to get squished in. Spoiler alert, sorry.
That's just straight murders, so. Yeah.
So they had a scene where it was like this garbage man sort of like with this two turtles joking, then behind them is Leo fighting like 15-foot guys, and then sort of half a block down the street, this garbage man walks out carrying 2 bags of trash, and the trash truck pulls up, and he looks down the alley, sees what's going, does one of those, drops the garbage bag and runs back down the alley. And so I'm thinking, they actually do makeup on and costume and, the garbage man thing, so I was supposed to tell the whole world I'm in the movie. And you see the movie, there's like this black shadow that sort of. So I was like,
Got that circle on the screen.
That's me. And also a stormtrooper in Star Wars. I didn't think. No. But Pete had actually shot some video of that from the side.
Oh, okay.
He was like, he's our resident Donatello. I can never write Donatello without the people there and take stuff apart. Yeah. But he had a video camera, and so he filmed my scene, and it showed up online within the last couple of years. And so then NECA made a toy of me. That's right. Never in the movie, so I got the last laugh.
Did you do the art for the box on that too?
I didn't do no, not on that one. They sort of like with the movie line, they do a different style of art. But I've been doing NECA, who does so many fantastic toys. I love their adaptations of all the different turtle universes. But I've been doing, they started doing a line of the Turtles comic book. Rush Studio, so I've been doing all the package art for that, which is a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's all your booth and everything too, so it's great.
And so they knock it out of the park every time.
Very cool. I have to ask personally, just because he's my favorite character, Casey. I think I've heard you talk in the past. You basically moved it off of you in like the early days. A little bit.
Well, yeah, sort of like what I'd like to be. Ish, yeah. So yeah, Casey was actually we'd already added expanded the turtle family with April, which is like the sort of its sister kind of thing, and we wanted. And the original idea I had for Casey was we want to do a one-shot, a single issue featuring each individual turtle to expand their personalities a little bit. This is still very early on, early days. And so I thought that, hey, Raphael being a sort of anger management issue turtle,
makes sense.
I thought if he met somebody that was crazier than him, maybe it might look him a little inward, kind of stuff.
Make him kind of see what's happening.
Yeah. And so back in those days, it seemed like every vigilante had some really dark, deep, the Punisher, his whole family was killed, or just, these horrible backstories of why they did.
Yeah, they're never coming from good families, good backstories, so it makes sense. Yeah.
So I wanted to do one that, in case you just watched too much bad TV, and so it was like, he'd have three TVs going in his living room, and be like, the A-Team, and TJ Booker, those kind of things. And he decided to be a vigilante, and made his costume, hockey mask and all that stuff. And Pete, so I designed Casey basic, and then Pete added what if he had a golf bag with a bunch of different weapons and stuff like that? And so that's how well we worked together. And so Casey was created in 1985 and expanded the family, became an immediate member of the family, has been in almost every iteration. But in 1986, a movie came out called Big Trouble in Little China, and I just said, I've never written Casey since seeing Big Trouble, not thinking, what would Jack Burton do? Because he was such, he was so, wants to do the right thing. And,
ready to go.
It's all the reflexes, that just, but it was one of my favorite original characters from the family of the Turtles.
I do the same here all the time. Actually, I do have to ask, just because I've heard it many different ways over the years. His catchphrase, is it Goongala? Is it Goongala? Is it like a tomato thing?
It was, Pete and I made it up based on, it was Goongala, but it was based on those old black and white Tarzan movies, because he'd be like, he'd be like riding an elephant, and he'd be like, Angawa, and then like the lions would then get up and do stuff. And every time Angawa did,
and then go, okay.
It was like, I am Groot kind of thing. It was the same word, and get him to do all kinds of things, so we based on that, we made up Goongala.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's awesome.
And it's funny. Yeah.
I did have a couple questions. I reached out to a handful of people, a couple of local questions here, because you and Peter both from New England.
Yep.
New Hampshire, Mass, everywhere.
That's right. Yep.
Did you have a favorite pizza place growing up that you like to leave?
No, actually, we did it in this when I went to, in part of the history of pizza came in, it was like after school job in high school, I worked at, it was called Louis Variety. It was like, they actually made a really good pizza, and it was, every half the high school came to the pizza place after school.
The hang-out spot.
No, the hang-out spot. And so that was the original one for me, and then it's funny, there was another store that also, it was called Nicely's Market, and they had great pizza too. It's not too far, and they had, their logo was this giant cow sculpture on the top of the building. So if you look at a series we did called The Unmentionables, I combined the two. So I put the cow on the top of Louis Variety, and that was the sort of the basis of that whole story.
That's awesome.
That was my favorite pizza place.
Okay.
When I worked at.
Do you have a go-to topping as a follow-up?
I have not met a pizza I don't like.
Have you ever tried any of the crazy toppings like the turtle? Like I did an Oreo and French fry pizza one time.
Bless you. No, that's one of the. No, there was a bunch of years ago. A company put out a Turtles pizza cookbook that actually had some good recipes.
I think that's where I got the French fry Oreo one.
Yeah, they had like pepperoni with sliced pickles and stuff. No, my wife's dad loves the pizza as well, and his favorite is. Don't ruin, it was Hawaiian pizza, but he put jalapenos on it.
Oh,
So it'd be like, ham, pineapple, and jalapenos with salty, sweet, and spicy.
It's a combo.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you don't think they work, and then it works. But, French fry Oreo wasn't horrible either. But I know all you guys came here. You guys are here to come hear me talk. If you guys do have a question, by all means, please, if you want to come up to the microphone here. First question. Here you go, buddy. Go for it.
Pee-wee's babies. Yellow.
Do you have a favorite character you ever created?
Man, that's it's such a great question because we've had so much fun through the creation process and the evolution. But early on in the Turtles, like if you look at the first bunch of issues we did, there weren't a lot of other mutants in the stories. But in 1985, we worked on and helped create all the mutant characters for the Turtles role-playing game.
Oh,
So if you look at the role-playing game, that's the first time we created like mutant warthog, a mutant rhinoceros. There was all kinds of characters in the role-playing game process for the Turtles to battle. And so that was really fun. We expanded the whole universe very early on, with all these different mutants, and a lot of the mutants that we created, gone on to cartoon shows.
Somewhere else down the line.
Yeah, so that was really fun to expand them. So I like them all.
Where did the punk rock stuff from?
That was fun. And by the time things really started expanding for Mirage Studios, a little tiny.
All right, well, had to end it there, you guys, because I want to save those questions for later. Thanks to my main man, my two little homies out there for doing their questions. So I hope you watch this. I'm posting it right now. Please DM me if there's any audio issues, but This is the best Kevin Eastman interview ever. And I'm your host, Otto, coming to you live and direct from the grotto. And remember to comment, like this video, hit the notification bells when you know we're doing this video. We got lots of videos coming up. Subscribe now. Leave a comment below. Were you at the panel? Did you hear me ask my question? All those kind of things. And again, we are 3 Men in the Basement. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Eastman. Thank you, Mr. Mitch Halleck, for an amazing time. Thank you, Mike from Cox Internet, for helping me save the internet. My name's Otto, and I'm out. Peace.